For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic. Before the Dark Times. Before the Empire.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Journal of the Jedi, Realm of the Mist Entertainment's Star Wars podcast. It's the relaunch, the rebirth, and we're here to talk about the rise of Skywalker. Now, right here, I'm going to stop the recording and go ahead and play one of the trailers for Rise of Skywalker. I feel that's only fitting. And then when we come back, we're going to give a non-spoiler review. A non-spoiler review because of the fact that I am going to give another episode of Journal of the Jedi, hopefully with a panel where we actually discuss things that are seen within the Rise of Skywalker. But until then, I'm going to give my view, my take. I waited a couple days to be able to do this non-spoiler review because of the fact that I really needed to think about what I saw and how I felt. Not just because it is the, movie of the sequel trilogy, and I know there's a lot of backlash from J.J. Abrams. There's a lot of backlash from Last Jedi and Solo that are going to hurt this film. But well, I don't want to give anything away until after the after the trailer. So let's go ahead and run the trailer, and then when I come back, we'll go ahead and we'll get into my non-spoiler review.
It's an instinct. Feeling. The Force brought us together. We're not alone. Good people will fight if we lead them.
People keep telling me they know me. No one does.
But I do.
Long have I waited. And now you're coming together. Is your undoing.
What are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir. At my friends.
Confronting fear is the destiny of a Jedi. Your destiny. The Force will be with you.
Always.
All right, guys, back to the non-spoiler review and reaction to Rise of Skywalker. I saw this on opening night, as I've done for every Star Wars film. I've been a fan since I was, peeing in a diaper, 5 months old, seeing Episode 4, 1977. Yes, I'm that old. And been to every midnight release since. for the original trilogy, for the prequel trilogy, for all the spin-offs, for all the sequel trilogy. This one, I could tell you, when I've walked out of Star Wars films, even with the flaws that are in some of them, especially like the prequel trilogies and everything else, I still had a sense of what I was walking away from, and I could articulate what I wanted to do and say and thought of the film like right away, you know. Even with Last Jedi, which, by the way, I did enjoy Last Jedi. There were parts of it I didn't like. There were parts of it that I felt were preachy or were political where they didn't need to be political, and I could have done without. Yes, I'm looking at the Canto Bite sequence, of course, but when it comes to the rest of it, quite honestly, I just, I enjoyed the film. I wasn't a person who had an issue with Luke Skywalker's story arc. I thought it was interesting, and of course people are going to disagree with me and have at length and at nauseum at times, but neither here nor there. I don't have an issue. They can have their opinion. They're welcome to their opinion. Right on, no problems. But when it came to Rise of Skywalker, when the credits rolled, I didn't know how to feel. I honestly did not know how. I had to see the film 2 more times. And I'm going to see it again with my kids after the holidays. I'm going to take them to go see Rise of Skywalker. So it'll be 4 times that I see the film. But it took about 2 more viewings for me to even be able to come up with some form of expression to be able to sit down and do a video with you guys. And if you haven't noticed, I'm kind of rawing this a little bit because of the fact that I still don't technically know what to say. I thought it was a good film, but there was a lot of problems with it. Some things happened in the film that I expected to happen. Overall, some of my major complaints for the film was not necessarily the acting, was not necessarily the story itself, which actually that's incorrect. I felt the story did feel a little incoherent at times, because they were trying to jam so much into this film. I did not have an issue with the story. In fact, one of the greatest things I thought is how they handled Leia and, of course, the Carrie Fisher death, and the way they did it, I thought was extremely tasteful. So I give full props to that sequence. There were other sequences in the film that I thought were unnecessary, and I'm looking at things that deal with fake outs within the movie. I don't want to give away spoilers, but people who have seen the film, you'll know which scenes I'm talking about, that I just felt were unnecessary and really felt unearned. The best portion of the film was the interactions between Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley. They killed it in this film. They really, really did. However, unfortunately, I do fear that what they did in this film with Rey has just completely confirmed a lot of the fan backlash that she is nothing more than a Mary Sue. She is absolutely a Mary Sue. And I've never been one to use those words. Never have been one to use those words when it came to Rey. Until I walked out of this film and it's like, you know what? Now I see it. Before, I thought there was something leading to it. They gave some stuff, like I knew for a fact that the Kylo Ren in Last Jedi telling Rey that she was a nobody who came from a bunch of nobodies, and and that was it. I knew that was bullshit. I knew that was going to be I don't want to use the term retcon because I don't know if that was the original idea or Rian Johnson just ran with something and JJ's like, no, that's not what I had in mind. But either way you looked at it, I knew it was going to be played off as like, no, that's not correct, and she is going to be connected to somebody. And I'll be honest, they went the route that I personally did not expect. I I'm fine with the route they took, but even the route they took did not explain why she is as all-powerful as she is. And quite honestly, it was like they were trying to find an excuse to explain her power, but all it did was just confirm what a lot of the fans have always said, and now I'm on board with it. She is a Mary Sue. She is the biggest Mary Sue, not only in the Star Wars franchise, but I would dare argue in any movie franchise. It was extremely disappointing because I was invested in the Rey character. I really was. I wanted to know her mystery and see how it explained how she was the way she was. I got to find out where she came from, who she is, and that was great. I had no problem with that. But it didn't explain shit to her power. It really didn't. It disappointed. It left me wanting. Some of the great things, of course, the great John Williams did not disappoint. The music was absolutely epic and on point, as you expect from Mr. Williams. And if anything, if Episode 9 serves as no other purpose, it's a great farewell from John Williams. His music was absolutely breathtaking, and even in some of the scenes that felt kind of lackluster, his score really breathed life into those scenes. But if I had one major complaint about this film, it was the editing of this film. It felt choppy. It felt rushed. It felt... It made scenes feel like half finished. The way you would cut from one scene to another, and in typical Star Wars movies, you have your fade or your wipe, how they normally do it, like when you transition from a planet scene to like space or something of that nature. It's always been that way, and it kind of seamlessly flows on itself. This was very, very chop and paste, and it took me out of the experience. It really, really did. Quite honestly, overall, I did enjoy the film. I do think the film is a decent film. It's a decent Star Wars film. It's absolutely not the worst Star Wars film of all time. But I've been quoted on our former show, War of the Stars. I've been quoted on our former show, Star Wars Canon Podcast. And, of course, quoted on many of our other podcasts when we talk about Star Wars. I have been quoted numerous times in stating that I feel the biggest thing about Rise of Skywalker that it needs to do is it needs to reunite the fan base and cohesively reconnect the whole saga from Episode 1 to Episode 8. Just really make it all wrap up into a nice, neat bow. I will say this. It definitely builds a better appreciation to the story of The Last Jedi. It did what I wanted it to do for Last Jedi, which I knew it was going to do. I knew it had to do it. I knew Last Jedi was the middle chapter, so with everybody bitching about how nothing was answered and everything, I knew it was like, just wait for Episode 9. The 8's not supposed to answer anything. It's the middle story. It did do that. However, did it reconnect the whole saga to the point that it could reunite the fan base? Sadly, in my opinion, no. It did not. And I honestly think that it was well enough to justify an episode 10, 11, and 12. But I think to truly wrap up the Skywalker saga, I think you need more films. This wasn't the one. Overall, as a Star Wars film, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. As a ender to 42 years of storytelling, 4.5 out of 10. We need more Star Wars. We need more saga Star Wars done right. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. Make sure you'd leave a comment down below. Also, make sure you check out all the other great podcasts of Realm of the Mist Entertainment and go over to our sister channel, Sounds Dicey Gaming for tabletop content as well as video game Let's Plays. And, of course, if you prefer audio format, make sure you're checking out Realm of the Mist Entertainment on Anchor.fm, Apple iTunes, or wherever quality podcasts can be heard. Guys, of course, like, share, comment, subscribe. We want you guys here. We're putting content out daily. We'd love to have you guys here enjoying the content and knowing when we release it every day. Until then, guys, may the Force be with you. And as I promise you, we will be having a sit-down spoiler review with a couple panelists. So that way it's not just my opinion, it's everybody else's as well. And we're really going to go into the meat and potatoes of The Rise of Skywalker. Until then, may the Force be with you. From celebrity interviews to Star Wars, to things that shouldn't be said but had to be said, to conspiracy theories, or maybe just a night of playing Dungeons and Dragons. Whatever the podcast you're looking for could be found here at Realm of the Mist Entertainment. Make sure you check out all of our shows because there's something for everybody there.